but it's a beautiful demon. Even if it's gonna destroy your soul and rip it up and eat it. Metalheads, welcome to Grafikmetal, where metal is celebrated with design in mind. And you are watching an early first review of Deicide's latest, Banished by Sin. So let's get to the Grafikmetal review. Banished by Sin by Deicide, a death metal album released on April 26. First things first, the album cover is strong, which was a welcome to my eyes because once upon a time, they used to be really good at it. Most of their first wave of albums all through the 90s were strong. What with Once Upon a Cross in 1995 and Legion in 1992 being the strongest of the bunch. But a strange thing happened. When clock hit zeros, they stopped putting effort into it. And increasingly, their album covers would get worse and worse with each preceding album. This leads to their latest, which immediately sets the tone with a welcome sight for my eyes to see. Sure, it's just another demon, as if that was original in, of all things, death metal. But it's a beautiful demon, even if it's gonna destroy your soul and rip it up and eat it. But that's not the end of the story, is it? No, it's not. You see, it turns out that, Glenn Benton, who is also the bassist, vocalist, and original member of the band, used Photoshop and, AI to help in hand in the creation of this one, which, to say stirred the pot would be an understatement. I'll be the first to say that I am extremely weary of AI too, but without going too far down the rabbit hole, to side with Glenn slightly out of respect for artists, and I don't know, like, art has always been one of the few vehicles to push and create conversations, to aid ourselves in creation of art. Look at the millions and millions of different deliverables and assets and means that we have used to aid ourselves in doing so. Shoot, I miss my hands getting messy and will always prefer it, quite frankly. I always like the tangibleness of being more physical with the process, but I cannot deny the value in some aspects of computers, right? I can personally, I tend to lean towards balance, but nonetheless, to each his own, right? Many feel Glenn and Deicide, for that matter, went past the line that you can't cross. But is that not exactly the point? I guarantee you that they were intentionally trying to stir the pot and mess with people and create controversy, especially a band like them. I have, quite frankly, to be honest, a better question for Glenn and them in general, which is, what the heck have you been doing this for 20 years now? Seriously, like, this is the last good album, be it without the controversy, that actually feels like there was effort put into it for quite some time. So that's what I want to know. But all right, enough. Let's move to the history of the band for those not familiar. So Deicide formed back in 1989 from Tampa, Florida, though technically they started out in 1987 as Carnage, and then Ammon until officially sticking with Deicide. They are part of what would be considered the second wave of early death metal, so right after Death and Morbid Angel, etc., and have always been regarded as among the best of the subgenre, you know, death metal has to offer. They also have rarely ever taken a break, with the only, you know, break was the gap between Illud and Kingdoms. Bassist Glenn and drummer Steve have been there from the beginning, but since 2004, when they nixed the Hoffman brothers, they've had a rotation of influx of guitars for quite some time now. But that is one of many fun band riffs that will have to be talked about another day, but let's just say that things did not end in happy terms. All right, finally, let's get to the music, right? All right, so vocals. Glenn is, I gotta admit, finally starting to show signs of wear and tear, like, sadly. This is the first time that it truly seems to show his age. Whenever he tries to hold his notes, it gets muddy. It loses its weight. It just kind of fades. The iconic baritone thickness is also just not as strong, therefore not as effective, and without a doubt, one of the key problems that the album has. The second is minor. One, because it's, well, I mean, they've never been, quote-unquote, a creative band. I mean, once they have their blueprint in place, they're one of those, like, if it ain't broken, don't fix it. But yeah, this one, again, doesn't offer anything new to the equation. And three, unless almost every, I mean, basically almost every album up to this point has always had at least like 1 to 3 like really great standout tracks. This one struggles to have moments. I mean, it's early, right? This is the first, you know, early review, so we'll, you know, revisit down the road. But the only real moments that really catch my ear is with Faithless, the middle section to I Am I, and the last track, Light Defeated. Actually, I do like that song. I'll give it that one. But generally speaking, there wasn't a whole lot of highlights, and there definitely is not a whole lot of flow and pace change at all. I can't, in fact, I think this is actually probably the worst at that, but they never really focused on that too much, so I'll let that be. This is, you know, like ultimately, right, like this is one of those respected key, you know, scene bands that have been around for a long time. So fans, I think, you know, diehard fans will still like it. It still gets the job done. But for newbies, I have a feeling that you're going to have a hard time with it. Overall, Grafikmetal rating gives this one a 66. And that was the review. Check back soon for more. Until then, keep on rocking. Cheers.